And welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by the Sechler Law Firm, where great families make great estate plans. I'm your host for this show. My name is Tim Sechler. I am an estate planning attorney and elder law attorney. I have the credential of certified elder law attorney, which just tells you we've done a whole bunch of this stuff. And during the show, if you haven't found it before, what we do is we talk about different things, sometimes current events, sometimes some sort of technical suggestions that you may want to include in your estate plan, and some what I consider to be good ideas for doing planning. And today's kind of one of those shows. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things, some fun announcements, but also just the importance of it, and I think in particular why I think this stuff is so important, why it is that I do what I do. You know, it seems to me that if you are considering maybe doing some estate planning and you're trying to choose a lawyer, why that lawyer does what they do may be important. So I'm going to take the opportunity to just introduce myself a little bit more. I think we've done 40 or 45 of these episodes at this point. And so I'm going to just take a deep dive and tell you a little bit about why this stuff is important to me and why I think it should be important to you. Before we do that, I like to throw in a little disclaimer that you should not consider this show to be legal advice. I am a lawyer, but this is designed to be education and general information I hope you find helpful. You shouldn't make any legal decisions based on anything you hear in this show or any other show. But I do hope you find the information useful. And I do have a couple of announcements before we get into the thing that I'd like you to know about. First is, for a number of years, my law firm, and in particular, my wife and I, have been involved in the Butler County Walk to End Alzheimer's. I have chaired the walk committee in the past. My wife is the current chair of the Butler County Walk to End Alzheimer's. And we're having a golfing outing this week. And so if you're a golfer, attention all golfers, we have an opportunity for you to play this week. Get your foursome together or come as an individual. We are playing at Connolly's Golf Resort just south of Butler on Route 8. It's an awesome, fun course to play, and your hard-earned dollars will be going to a good cause. All the proceeds are going to go to the Butler County Walk to End Alzheimer's. And come on out this Thursday, May the 6th at 10 a.m. is the tee off. You can find all about it. You can find links to register on our webpage, sechlerlawfirm.com, or just call my office if you have questions and we'll get you lined up. But we're still looking for a couple of foursomes. There's a couple of foursome spots open. There's a couple sponsorship opportunities open. So give my office a call and we'll connect the dots for you. Another announcement that I would like to share with you, and this one's fun. I'm now speaking to all of the healthcare people out there, all of the people that live, work in the healthcare community. We are doing the first, well, not the first. We did one last year during the pandemic, but the first one we've intentionally done. That's a webinar rather than an in-person. We are doing an elder law boot camp on May 21st. You can get all your continuing education credits for coming to the event. It is going to be a live webinar again on Friday, May 21st. We're starting early in the morning, I think 7:30 in the morning. But you can listen to this and pick up. I think we're doing 4 credit hours for listening to it. But that is social workers, nurses, and nursing home administrators. So if you need your continuing education, this is a free way to do it. And you will find that at our website, sechlerlawfirm.com. If you need the continuing education, if you don't need the CE, maybe you just want to know how some of this stuff works. So what we're going to talk about is all of the latest rules on Medicaid and long-term care planning, how to help your residents and patients protect their home and their net worth so that they don't lose it to this somewhat terrible Medicaid healthcare system that we have. And so I'll teach you all about the things that elder law attorneys do to help their clients preserve assets and get the care they need. So that is, again, one last time, May 21st. We're doing it as a webinar, and you will get the free education credits for attending. So there you go. I hope that's a good opportunity for you. More information, give us a call, or you can find it on our website. So what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of the background of my law firm and why we do what we do. And I've talked in pieces of this, I think, in the past, but I haven't done it in a way that I think was done really in a coherent way. And I think it's important because there's some good lessons to learn during this story. And it kind of starts back about 10 years ago. Well, even before that, my paternal grandfather was a dairy farmer, and he was a bit of an entrepreneur. He owned some small businesses out in a rural community in Western Pennsylvania, and had done pretty well for himself and saved some money. And then in 1997, he entered a skilled nursing facility with Alzheimer's disease. At the time, I was still in school and I was in the military for a little bit. But he proceeded to live in this skilled nursing facility with Alzheimer's disease for about 10 years, and a whole bunch of money went out the door because we've got this, in my opinion, stupid Medicaid system that requires Alzheimer's patients to go broke. And by the way, 1 in 3 of us is going to have dementia if you read the statistics. So if 1 in 3 seniors is going to have dementia, and we've got a healthcare delivery system that requires people that need custodial long-term care to go broke, it seems to me that we ought to be talking about this a little bit. We ought to be doing some estate planning for this. We ought to position ourselves in an intelligent way to make sure that our family is well provided for. But I digress. So I was working for a big law firm in town after law school in downtown Pittsburgh, and found out the financial situation around my grandfather's situation, and realized that's a whole bunch of money that went out the door to this nursing home. And started doing some homework and realized that there was some things that probably could have been done, but at the time nobody really knew it. My granddad had worked with a small town lawyer that was sort of a general practitioner, and we had gotten the advice that there really wasn't much you can do. You have to have the plan in place ahead of time, which really isn't true. And there was some steps that could have been made that potentially could have saved my grandma a whole bunch of money. And I decided to do it. So I quit my job with the big law firm in Pittsburgh to start an elder law firm with the idea of helping people in similar situations. And so now what the practice looks like is we do a couple of different types of cases. We do Medicaid, nursing home asset protection work. So if you have a loved one who is in a nursing home or about to be in a nursing home, we do the types of planning that ends that monthly bill. So the average cost per Pennsylvania, per the state, the average cost of a nursing home in Pennsylvania is a little over $11,000 a month, $130,000 a year. And most families can't afford that for very long. And there are techniques that elder law attorneys like myself use to protect assets, even if after somebody's in a nursing home, if the planning is done correctly. And so that's a piece of it, and that was really the core of why we started doing elder law in the first place. And then the practice has grown and the practice has evolved, but in doing the elder law stuff, we started writing a lot of estate plans. I started writing a lot of wills and a lot of trusts, and I realized that there was a lot of this stuff that was just being poorly done. And I'll tell you another story that was sort of developmental in the progress of our firm growing, and that was early on in my career. I came across an estate, a fella. It was unfortunately it was a suicide, a death by suicide, and the gentleman had done his own online will and had just done it all wrong. And in the will, he said specifically that he left his life insurance to a certain sibling, but on file with the life insurance company was a beneficiary designation that left the money elsewhere. And so, he had done his own self-help online will pretty clearly to me in contemplation of suicide and where his stuff would go. And those desires were not met because he made mistakes. And I learned from that a lot. I learned from that very few estate planning situations are really easy. People like to throw around this term simple will. Get your simple will here or get your simple will there. And, in my opinion, there's very few times simple wills apply. There's this little joke about estate plan amongst estate planning attorneys when people call the office and ask how much for a simple will. And the answer is, I'll let you know whenever I write one, because I've never written a simple will. Life is more complicated than that. And even, a lot of people think about the word estate planning and it's like estate. I don't have an estate. I'm not rich. I'm not I don't have $10 million in the bank, right? There's no estate to talk about. It sounds like such a hoity-toity type of word, but the reality is, yeah, of course you have an estate. You will have an estate. It's what you own. It's your home. It's your money when you pass away. And we need to do some good planning for this. Now, my version of what good planning looks like might sound or look different than what some other lawyers' version of sound planning looks like. But for me, look, I kind of look at it like this. Families or individuals live their whole lives working towards something, right? Raising kids, maybe, or maybe devoted to their religion, or perhaps they're trying to build a business, or perhaps they're trying to become wealthier. They don't care about that. They're just trying to give as many hours of volunteer that they can, right? But whatever your definition of success looks like, whatever your definition of the American dream looks like, or whatever it is that you're sort of emotionally trying to accomplish, I see, just like my law firm grew over a series of these events and these experiences that we had and we were able to learn from and help people with. I think that a lot of people can look at their situation as sort of chapters in a book. There's your young years, there's the early years, then there's the high school years, or the ongoing education years, or the professional years, or the raising kids, or the marriage, or whatever. So like you could look back on your life as a series of chapters that are telling the story of whatever your version of the American dream looks like. And you're trying to do this in the way that you think things are done, and the way you think things could be done the right way. And what I see the estate plan really being is, we estate planning lawyers have this high honor of helping you write the last chapter of that book, right? And by the way, none of us know when that last chapter is going to be written, right? A lot of the time, the whole plot doesn't get to be told. People die young, people die in accidents, but I can guarantee you, with 100% certainty, over the course of human history, that book will end. And when that book ends, one of the things, if you can imagine yourself looking down from heaven and looking at your family and hearing their conversations after they've left you, after you've left them rather, one of the things that I would like to hear would be, we miss them, and this is tragic and it's unfortunate, all those things that people say at that time. But boy, I also want them to say, at least he planned well, his family's okay. At least we know where the assets are. At least we didn't lose everything to the government system. At least he left enough money for his kids through life insurance or whatever it is. And so if you think about, like, after your story is ended and people are talking about your story, I think you want the last chapter to make some sense. And we estate planners, that's what we do. We make sure that we're telling your story. We're making sure we're handling your affairs, handling your assets, handling your money, handling your house, so that we try to reduce family strife. We try to reduce fighting over the money. We try to save as much of it as we can. And not that money's the only thing. I think you also need to do a whole bunch of planning for things like your stories. You need to tell your stories to somebody, and you need to record them. And that's a conversation, I think, for another day that we've talked about before. But this is why you got to do this stuff. Look, you don't have a decision. There will be a last chapter. And I hope it's a long, long time from now. I really, really do. But you still need to be prepared. And that's what this practice is all about. And maybe today's episode's a little bit of a guilt trip, but I will spare you the stories of some things that I've seen here really recently with people that passed away without a good estate plan. They thought they had a will, they never signed it, or they thought they had the will, but they lost it, or the will wasn't updated since, and then there was a marriage afterward, and that changes everything. And so why is it Why is it people don't do this? That's a question we lawyers like to ask a lot. Like, clearly it's important. Clearly we're all eventually going to pass away. Clearly no one wants to give the government more than they're due. Clearly nobody wants to get ripped off with legal fees and headaches and all the rest. So why don't people do it? And I think that there's this kind of thing where we get to imagine that it's going to be many, many years from now, and I got all kind of time. Perhaps it's that people are just uncomfortable with the subject matter. A very good friend of mine that I've known for 30 years. He and I were chatting recently, and we were talking about, I just flat out asked him, do you have a will? And you don't need me to write it, but you need to have a will. You got little kids. And he said, no, I don't want to talk about that. And I said, I know you don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to imagine this. Nobody wants to think about this, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to. It's part of your responsibility being a father, buddy. And so, I think we've got to move in the right direction. But there's this general thing that people just don't want to talk about it and don't want to think about it. And I think it's a long time away. And then I think there's another problem that is, where do I turn? I don't know any lawyers, or the lawyers I know do something else. They do divorces. They don't really do this stuff. Or, what do I have to do? I got to take a day off of work and I got to drive downtown and pay an initial consultation fee, pay to park, walk up the crowded street I don't really want to be in, ride the elevator I don't want to be in, go talk to the rude receptionist I don't want to talk to, and then I got to go talk to this lawyer about something I don't want to talk about. And so to me, it's kind of like, well, yeah, all right, I understand. I know why you don't want to do that. And so what we've done at the firm is, Sechler Law Firm, is we've tried to make the planning easy. We have the seminars you can come to, the webinars you can watch from your living room. And we created recently this thing called the Life and Legacy course, which if you have been putting off doing an estate plan, or if you have been putting off finding the right lawyer to help you with this, I created something that I think is pretty neat, and I think you could check out. You can find it at sechlerlawfirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And if you go to the workshops tab, we've got some changes to our website coming. But right now, if you go to the workshops tab, you'll find a button for the Life and Legacy course. And what the Life and Legacy course does is it gives you a sequence of educational videos talking about some of this stuff. We talk about wills and powers of attorney and how trusts work and your different estate planning options. And as you walk through the videos, then I ask you some questions, and it's who's going to be your executor, for example. You can put the person's name into the system. Now, we get those answers. Then at the end of the course, we offer you a free consultation where you click the button and you have access to our calendar and you get scheduled. And then we do a Zoom call, or a phone call, or whatever the case is. If you're real close by and want to have it in person, fine. But what we do is we see your answers that you provided from going through the course, and we talk to you about maybe some things you're not thinking about. Or we'll say, yeah, it looks good. We just need to make sure the spelling's correct, and we need to work through a couple of things. And then the result of that meeting, which, by the way, you did not have to take a day off of work for, drive downtown, pay to park, and go to the mean receptionist up the elevator. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can do it at night with your spouse, if you're married, on your couch, and get the same information you would typically get in that initial consultation with a lawyer, where you're typically paying for the consultation. So you take the Life and Legacy course. It replaces one meeting. It's free. Then we typically would have a Zoom meeting following that, where you get to meet with myself or one of our lawyers to talk about your plans, make sure we understand what you're trying to do, let us spot check to make sure you're not making some mistakes with the things that you've said. And then we prepared, custom drafted, attorney prepared estate planning documents. It's not just we're spitting out the same will for everybody, because there's no such thing as a simple will. And anybody that tells you all you need is a simple will is lying. They don't know what they're talking about. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you a customized estate plan. And we're going to talk to you about changing beneficiary designations on your life insurance to make sure that the estate plan works. And if you do a trust, we got to talk to you about funding the trust. There's no reason to have a trust that doesn't own anything, right? But we're going to do a quality customized estate plan for you. The only time I actually need you to take a day off of work at all is to come and sign the thing. And that's a relatively quick meeting because we've gone through a process before to review the documents. And so we have, I really think with the Life and Legacy course, which is exclusive at the Sechler Law Firm, we created it. I think it's the easiest way that I've seen, and I know I have a lot of friends in this business. I think it's the easiest way for you to get a good customized estate plan with competitive flat fee costs and not having to take 3-4 days off work to get the thing done. So there's the pitch. That's how it's going to get easy. If you have been putting this thing off, it has never been easier to get a good quality estate plan completed than what we've done with our Life and Legacy course. And I'm really proud of it. And I really think you ought to check it out because it's time to quit putting this stuff off. So there you go. And if you'd rather meet with us in person, we are back to doing our in-person workshops. We do them up in the Cranberry area. You can come to the workshop, ask me all the questions you want. I do the workshops personally, and I teach you all the things that I think you need to know: wills, trusts, how this crazy nursing home Medicaid system works, and then we get you. We offer you a free consultation following the workshop where you can come and sit down with myself or one of the other lawyers to start working on your customized plan. Before we end the show today, there's a couple of things I do want to review the announcements I did at the beginning, just in case you tuned in late. If you enjoyed this show, if you learned something with this show, if you thought this was good, but you need your spouse to hear it to get them on board, then we record this and we put it on. You can find it two places. One, you can find it as a podcast on Apple or Spotify. The other place you can find it is on our YouTube channel. I'm recording this as a radio show, but I'm also recording it with video, and you can find it on our YouTube channel whenever you want. So if something I said today registered with you, but you need to get your spouse on board, I get it. Make them listen to this episode. I think it's a good one to sort of explain why this is important and an easy way to get started. So check out those resources. Now, a couple of the events that we have coming up. Thursday, May 6th, Connolly Golf Resort on Route 8 up near Butler. We are having a golf outing. My wife has organized this. Robin is awesome, and she's really taken this mission of supporting the Alzheimer's Association seriously. It's kind of our family's charity that we support a whole lot, given what we do and given what my family's experienced. And so she's the chair of the Butler County Walk to End Alzheimer's Disease. And we're having a golf outing, and all the proceeds are going to go to that cause. It is Thursday, May 6th, Connolly Golf Resort, 10 a.m. Still a couple of foursomes available, still a couple sponsorship opportunities available. So go and check that out. You can find information about it at my website. If you have trouble finding it for any reason, give me a call, 724-841-1393, and we will get you signed up. The other event that I want to mention, in addition to our regular workshops, which you can find out all about on our website, is the Elder Law Boot Camp that we are doing for healthcare providers. This is free. So if you are a manager at a healthcare facility, or if you work in a healthcare facility and you're curious about some of the things that elder law attorneys do, we are doing the Elder Law Boot Camp on May 21st, starting in the morning, goes through lunchtime. And there are free continuing education credits available for nurses, and it's available for social workers, and available for nursing home administrators. And so if you are in need of continuing education, and even if you're not in need of the continuing education credits, but you're curious about how some of this stuff works, and you want to know how to help protect your patients and their families from things like long-term care expenses, etc., then then I think you ought to check out the Elder Law Boot Camp. We're going to talk about things like Medicaid eligibility, protection of the home from the nursing home, how to help families even after in the nursing home. We're going to dispel with some of the myths about, it's too late if you didn't plan 5 years ahead of time, and really just kind of teach you how we think we can work together with the healthcare providers to accomplish the joint goal of one, making sure that our clients and your patients get the care they need, and two, making sure that that in getting that care, they also don't go broke, because my experience, people don't work their whole lives to end up giving it to the government on the back end. So there you go. I hope that today's show was beneficial to you. I hope you learned a lot. Remember, this is general education and information. This is not legal advice. Don't make any decisions based on anything you hear on this or any other radio show. If you have a legal problem, you need a legal solution, and you should hire an attorney. You can find out more about my law firm anytime at SechlerLawFirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And thanks for listening.